All right. Well, I'd like to first thank Dr. Hemphill, Dr. Seelig, and all of Monarch Nation for their continued support, not only this season and this offseason, but through the 5 years that I've been there. They've been unbelievable, and I couldn't, be more appreciative of working with those men. Also like to thank Commissioner Gill and the rest of the Sun Belt. First class venue, first class event as always, and I really appreciate it. Working with them, when we're at the conference meetings or when we're here and you come away just very grateful of the type of people that we're able to work with, how intelligent they are, how much they care about, our conference. Want to first say very proud of our academic success that we've had. 4 out of our last 5 semesters, our team has had over a 3.0 team GPA. Last semester, we had a 3.11 team GPA, which set our record. So I'm very, proud of what our guys have done to maintain, keeping what's important in the classroom and keeping that important. But obviously, just like I was when I played, they're here to play football too, and not just get an education. And it's vitally important to them. And we're excited for the next year. We have an opportunity to play an SEC opponent, which is a great, that's something that we're very excited about. Open up the season against an SEC opponent in South Carolina. We also have an opportunity to play an ACC opponent. So to get those 2 opportunities, that's special for our young men to be able to prove themselves on a national stage in the early season there. But we also know that we play in a very tough conference, and this conference, obviously produced 12 bowl teams last year. Every single team we play this year in our conference schedule went to a bowl. In fact, we play 10 total bowl teams this year. And so, we're excited about that opportunity and know that we have a terrific home schedule. Our home schedule, I know our fans are excited about it, but be able to welcome in an in-state opponent like Virginia Tech, be able to welcome another in-state opponent like JMU, and then the other countless opponents we have coming in there. I mean, it's one of the greatest home schedules in all of college football. And so I'm really excited about that. We do return all 3 coordinators, offense, defense, and special teams. We also return our strength coach. We also return our trainer, return our director of football operations. So there's a lot of continuity on our team, and I'm excited to be able to have that. Today's version of college football, I mean, we have 56 new players, right? But to have that continuity within the program is going to help us hit the ground running. So excited about that. So, I like our depth overall. We have 11 returning starters, but we have 12 other guys that have started an FBS game. So to have that sort of depth and be able to help us on offense, defense, and special teams is going to be critical. With that, I'd like to open up with questions because that was my longest opening statement in the history of my life, and I felt like I was rambling. So let's do this.
We will open the floor now for questions. We ask those of you in the room to please raise your hand, and we will get a microphone to you. And for those of you joining us on Zoom, please remain on mute and type your questions into the chat. And we do have a question on Zoom, and this is for all 3 of you. How have things changed? This is from Brian Smith. How have things changed since spring practice now that you have reinforcements? And are you shaping into the team that you'd originally planned?
I'll let the players answer that first. Santana, why don't you go?
Well, for me, culture was my biggest thing, big goal for me after the season. Just building culture. I think we've done a great job of hanging out together, doing things together more than I've been here since 2020. I think culture wins games. That's something Coach Hutt always talks to the O-line about every day, every hour, in the group chat, after practice, before practice, at lunch. So, it's real. Culture is a big thing for us, and to see the entire team be able to just grow and get closer. It's great. Knowing your brother's story is the biggest thing, because you can go harder, you can play harder, you can do more for your brother because you know what he went through. Even the workouts with Coach Snodgrass, the blood, sweat, and tears you shed every day out there with him. It's work you put in on the field is better when you know who your brother is off the field.
I completely agree with Santana. Culture is definitely something that helps win championships, and especially kind of specifically him and the O-line. I think I might see them work out more than anybody else on our team. Every time I feel like I look out on the practice field, they're out there, whether they're doing a walkthrough, whether they're all just kind of messing around playing spike ball or something like that. And then he's really serious about the hanging out too. I've never hung out with my team this much before, and I'm grateful for it. And I feel like maybe in the past there's been groups, like we've hung out before, but it was kind of groups. I think this year it's more of a whole unit. I think offensively, defensively, we all kind of hang out with each other and stuff like that. There's no separation between. I think that alone is going to be a really big thing for us because it builds a lot of trust, which is probably the number one thing we talk about in the meeting room and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be big for us, and I'm excited to see what it brings us.
Yeah, Jason just touched on it. I've talked about trust a bunch and, building trust in each other, building trust in the scheme, building trust in yourself and your ability and letting you play fast. And I think that that's been the biggest change that we've seen over the summer. And the other thing I would say is I think our guys have done a great job of integrating the new guys and building them in and making them feel like they were new guys for about 25 seconds. And then after that they were part of the team. So that's been huge.
Harry Minnie from ODU Sports ask you the question you're going to get asked when you get back to Norfolk at the beginning of practice. Assess your quarterback position. You seem to have more depth. You've got a transfer in who started at Boston College 2 games. You've got a redshirt freshman who's really good. Sort of talk about your quarterback position and how much improved it is.
Yeah, I think our quarterback position has been, very much improved, especially this summer. I mean, I've been happy with how every single one of them is approached, this summer. And I think Grant's done a great job of seeing things as an opportunity. He's worked on his fundamentals a bunch, and I see him, throwing the ball with more confidence than I've seen him throwing ever. And so I think that all that's going to translate into, having 3 guys that I feel very confident with, and then a freshman quarterback that I think that everybody's gained a lot of respect for in the short amount of time that he's been there, just about how the way he approaches his work and those sort of things. I think, we have 5 guys really with our walk-ons there, and those guys are really approaching the workouts with a sense that, hey, I'm gonna attack every single thing I do today, and I'm gonna play with a lot more confidence and a lot more trust in my ability, but also in the coaches and what they're teaching us.
Coach Dominic Crissetto, College Football Dogs and Sunbelt Syndicate. You spoke about your SEC opponent, your ACC opponent. You also have the early West favorite and the early East favorite on your schedule all at one time.
Yep.
Dave Schultz just focused on you guys as being underrated. Do you believe that's true and you could take advantage of this really tough schedule and maybe what the players think on that as well?
I mean, one thing I think all of us probably need to take if I can give one piece of advice to everybody, is not worry about what other people's opinions of you are. I think it in today's modern age of social media and everything, there's a lot of opinions out there, and you can get those real quick. And so we're focused on what we can do, how we can win games, what we have to do to win, and those sort of things. You start looking at our schedule as a whole, it might be daunting, but the reality of it is we only have to play one every week, right? And right now who we're playing is Old Dominion. We got to play us for the next, however many practices in preseason camp. And that's the important part. I know it sounds cliche. I know it's silly and those sort of things, but really we've got to worry about Old Dominion for the next, 25 practices. And then we'll get to the opponents and go from there one at a time. Sometimes, I think, people look at it and you start looking at it as a whole and those sorts of, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for our players, right? This is an awesome opportunity for each one of our young men to know that they get to play in the best Group of 5 conference in the country, that they get to play a lot of games where we don't have to travel very far because of how our schedule is set up and really how our conference is set up. And we get to play great football week in and week out that everybody's going to know that the team I just played is a great football team that's well coached and is probably going to go to a bowl game. And I think that that's the opportunity that we've got to look at and we've got to be excited about. One of you want that one?
I mean, at the end of the day, I think each week is just another football game on your schedule. I don't think the name or anything like that really matters. Each week we're going to go into every single game the same, whether it's the best or the worst team in the conference. We're going to prepare the same. We're going to do all the same things each week to kind of just keep a schedule, a routine with it. And I think by doing that, which we've done in the past, we're going to be able to build a sort of comfortability thing along with it. And I think that that's only going to just continue to build stronger and stronger throughout the season, and we're just going to attack every week.
Yeah, Jason said everything I was going to say. You know, we're focused on what's in front of us, and that's camp. You know, that's what we're worried about right now. Not focused too early ahead on the season. You know, I don't want to look too far ahead. I'm excited for camp and what we have to, what we have in store for camp.
Got a Zoom question. This is for Jason. How are you feeling post-knee injury, and are you ahead of schedule?
I'm feeling really good. It's been nice to be back out on the field working out with the guys and stuff. It's something I missed tremendously throughout the process, but I'm back out on the field working out with the guys, having a great time, and yeah, it's been an awesome summer so far.
And a Zoom question for Santana. How do you feel the offense is shaping up, and do you feel that you have improved from last year?
Yes, I feel like myself, but we all have improved. Not just me, just the entire offense as a whole. Like I said earlier, just building that culture, that brotherhood, slowly but surely. The work we put in from after the bowl game to where we are now, I mean, it's a huge jump. You know, again, bringing up Coach Hutt, but he talked about the jump from year 1 to year 2 should be tremendous, and which I feel like it will be, and that's what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Coach Kevin Foote, Acadiana Advocate. Coach Clark talked about how Joey got quite a bit of attention in the offseason after the great year. I think a lot of people probably surprised Jason still sitting next to you right there. Just talk about that process, and Jason also, if you would comment about you still being and sticking at ODU.
Well, I'll let Jason speak on it further, but I would just, I think I'm blessed that I've got 2 young men up here who are going to finish their college careers at one university. And I think that that's a pretty special thing in today's college football, to be able to have 2 guys who are going to go through their entire career at one place. I think these guys know that I care about them. They know that, our coaching staff cares about them. I mean, for Jason, this relationship's been going a long time. I recruited Jason when I was back at Penn State. He was the first guy that I offered when I got the job. So, it's one of those things that, this is a long-standing relationship. We've been through our ups, obviously a ton of ups. We've been through our downs. And so I think he trusts me and I trust him, and so ultimately that's what this thing's going to be about. I think the other thing is guys are starting to realize that maybe the grass isn't always greener on the other side. We have guys who go other places and those sort of things. And guess what? They talk to these guys, and they tell them, hey man, be careful, buyer beware. And so I think that that's the other thing that these guys are starting to see. Hey, ultimately, how am I going to be the happiest? How am I going to be the most successful? And, I'm happy that, we were able to maintain all the guys. And I think that that's one thing that I talk to our coaches about all the time. In today's modern age, it's hard sometimes to keep investing in the kids because you feel like you're getting burned and those sort of things. Reality of it is you have to invest more because guys like Santana, guys like Jason who have stayed, they deserve my investment. They deserve everything I've got each and every day. And if I pull back because I'm worried about getting hurt, I'm no different from them when I tell them they've got to attack each and every day, even after we lose a game and those sort of things. So I got to live what I preach, and I better invest everything I got. I better tell my wife she better invest everything she's got in this team. My coach is the same way. And I think that everyone's bought into that. And so these guys feel that. There's going to be guys that make decisions that they feel is best for them and their family to go other places. But ultimately, I'm happy and excited to have the guys that we have, especially these 2 up here who are going to finish their career at Old Dominion.
Question again from Zoom. Jason, you're just blowing up Zoom. Everybody wants to question you here. Well, a question from Brian Smith. How do you think the defense is looking going into this season? And a follow-up question from earlier, this from Zach Slayton. How hard has the recovery process been mentally, and how have you stayed locked in through the tough moments of rehab?
Rehab-wise, I mean, all the credit goes to my support system. I have a great support system, whether that's at home with my family or at ODU with everybody. People like Santana, I walk around, everybody, hey, how you doing? Making sure, that mental aspect, making sure I'm doing good mentally. And that really helps boost my confidence in the recovery and stuff like that. The trainers do a great job of making sure that I'm doing what needs to be done. Coach Rahne does a great job of making sure, and you know what I'm really most appreciative of is that I'm okay. You know, he makes sure that mentally, you know, upstairs everything is kind of all tied together, and I'm not losing my mind and stuff. And I'm very thankful for that. It's been a hard recovery, but him as well as the rest of the staff and the whole program at ODU has really done a good job of getting me through it. Defensively, I'm just really excited to get out on the field and see what we're able to do. We have a lot of new secondary kids, and I think we've done a really good job of replacing people that have left and stuff like that through the portal or with new freshmen. But what I'm most excited about all across the board is our depth. You know, I think if our whole entire starting defense was to get hurt for some reason, our second team or third team would do just as fine. And that's something that I'm really happy for because there's never any fear. There's never any stress. Everybody trusts everybody. Everyone knows that whether it's this guy, that guy, or the guy behind him, the job's going to get done no matter what or who you send out on the field.
I think one thing, just to touch on something real quick, you know, I think it's a credit to, you know, where the sport has come and the progress we've come in this sport and coaching and those sort of things that we're able to talk about, you know, how hard it is mentally to go through some of these things. You know, people's whole, you're a football player. That's who you are. And people can act like that's not okay and like, hey, you're whatever. Hey, being a football player, like I'm a football coach, that's who I am. I got no problem with that. Right? Like people can say, oh, you need to be more than that. Why? This is who I am. Go look at all the great things that have ever happened in my life have happened because of football. Right? I mean, that's the reality. You know, I love my wife, you know, and I was at Cornell because I played football. That's reality. I can say whatever. I was a pretty smart student, all those sort of things, whatever. I was there because I played football. Right? So to say when these injuries happen, we need to be able to support these young men. And I think that the things that our university is doing, thing that other universities doing to support these people when they have these sort of things has been awesome. And a great change that we've had in our game is something that we probably need to talk about all the great things that are going on in our game, not some of the negatives that are.
Thomas Terry with KCSW Sports. This is kind of aimed at both you, Coach Rahne, and Santana. You guys, I know a statistic maybe that you're not too proud of is the amount of times that the quarterback was sacked last season. How much was that an emphasis in this offseason training, kind of getting the offensive line to band around Santana, as I know you're one of the leaders on this team, telling them, hey, guys, we got to get ready for next year. This can't happen again.
Yeah, well, I'll let Santana address that part of it. But what I will say is this. That is not an offensive line statistic. That is an offensive statistic, right? I mean, we've got to get rid of the ball faster at quarterback. We've got to run the routes correctly so that we can get rid of the ball. We've got to be able to protect it tight end and running back. We've got to be able to run the ball and hit so we're not in third and long situations and those sort of things. We've got to be able to make sure we're calling the right plays so we're not putting our guys in peril so we aren't getting those sacks. The offensive line always gets blamed for that stat, and that's not an offensive. You know, I played quarterback. Right? Like, so I think about all the times I was sacked. More than half of the times it was because I was an idiot, right? I didn't check the protection the way I was supposed to. I held on to the ball too long, right? Whatever it was, you know, I mean, so, you know, I think that sometimes, you know, you gotta see those sort of things. And so I think the offensive line takes a lot of blame for that. I know they take a lot of pride in who they are and what they're going to be. And I know they're excited about their opportunity to be able to go out there and right that wrong.
Yeah, you know, in the offensive line room, it's never the quarterback's fault, regardless. It doesn't matter what he does. We take pride in that. And yeah, I mean, the work we put in the offseason, you know, coming in on Saturdays, doing the extra work, doing things that you wouldn't expect people doing on Saturdays after a long week of workouts. But it's all to build an edge. It's all a mentality. It's all to build that mental aspect of being an offensive lineman. That's what you do every day. You wake up, you eat, sleep, breathe, offensive line. So I'm very excited to see what we have in store for camp. You know, just knowing the work we've all put in. I think it's very big. We have a great opportunity this year, I would say.
Harry Minium from ODU Sports again for Jason and Santana. We talked about this a little bit last night during dinner, but you guys both could have gone to other places if you looked. You didn't look. Why did you choose to stay at ODU? What about ODU made you decide, I need to stay here?
I'll make this quick. The only thing I want to say about that is Coach Rahne and everyone else at ODU makes that really easy for us as players. there's not many reasons why you'd want to look other places and kind of explore your opportunities. Coach Rahne mentioned it. I was lucky enough to be his first offer when he took the head coaching job, and they were my first offer. So to me, that's something special. And why try and leave somewhere that I don't see a problem in? I don't have any problems at ODU. I love my teammates. I love my coaches. I love the support. I love the fans. I love the community there. I think everything there is great. So, and he mentioned it too, the grass isn't always greener. So if I'm content, if I'm comfortable where I am, why am I going to take that risk to try and go explore my options? Maybe I could find better places, maybe not. But to me, it's the risk isn't worth the reward there for me. And, you know, I heard it earlier today, you know, finish what you started. And I'm thankful to be a senior here at Old Dominion. I'm ready to finish what I started.
Yeah, loyalty, you know, for me, I'm big on loyalty. You know, loyalty is everything for me. Coach Rahne brought his entire staff just to come see me when I was in high school, and that meant a whole lot. Always talked to me, text me, checked on me. So it kind of, that stood out. You know, Coach Rahne, this staff is really big on family. They're really big on family. They bring their wives and kids to the building. We talk to them. I mean, that's really, really, it means a whole lot for me, you know, being 3 hours from home to kind of have a home away from home. And I mean, it's hard to leave a guy like Coach Rahne. He makes it his destiny to talk to his players. I mean, he really, really wants to invest in his players. And so it's hard to just up and leave that because you won't find it everywhere else.
I would say I think our players have done a great job with that too. You know, coming up and seeing me and those sort of things. If it's always just me searching them out, that's gonna be too hard. There's 116 of them. There's one of me. That's gonna be a hard deal. Like, you know, we'll be on vacation. Santana will just call me, you know, and you guys as children, you know, if all of a sudden you get an unexpected call from one of your kids, man, you are thinking the worst, you know? And then he just all of a sudden his big smiling face is on the FaceTime and he's like, I'm just checking on you. I'm just seeing what's going on. I just want to see how you and your family are doing. And that's a pretty special thing to be able to have.
Got a Zoom question. This is for Jason. Jason, you're now in a video game. Is that cool, weird, insane, or what?
I mean, yeah, it's really cool. I don't play the game personally a lot. Never had a console, but obviously I've been on the game since it came out. I think it's awesome. I think it's great for all the players. I think it's really cool that you know, get to hop on, whether it's with your teammates, your buddies, anything, and just kind of sit there, talk a little trash to each other and play a video game. And then you get to wake up the next morning, and the reason you're in that video game, you get to pursue the whole entire next day. And to me, I think that's just awesome. And I think it's something that if they continue it, it'll be really good for the sport itself and the players as well.
I would say one thing. We live in a pretty divisive country where everything we did is right and wrong and this sort of thing, right? This video game is the only thing that I've heard about where everybody loves it, right? This might be the most uniting thing that we've ever been around. If you think about video games nowadays, you play them in a room separate, right? One guy's on a headset over here and he's playing somebody in China and they're playing somebody in Belgium and you're doing all this sort of thing. This thing, they were just talking to me. They're like, Coach, there's 20 of us in a room and we're all playing and all having fun. And this thing is uniting people. That's the power of college football. And I love that this game is back. I just would also like to say that I was in the game before any of them. All right. So I was blessed to be in it when the Ivy League was still in it. I was not very good. I had a very different memory of the type of player I was on that game until my son showed me the reality of it. And that was a humbling and bad deal. So I reckon that's another piece of advice. Don't go looking back into your memories. Just let them live in there because it's always going to be a little worse than you remember.
The game was there.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, we had him back then. It wasn't just like chalk and all that sort of stuff. I know what you're thinking.
Tyson Taylor here, KTSW. Jason, I know you don't play the game much, but I did want to let you know you were at 91 overall, which is pretty good. But, Coach, y'all ranked top 5 in the Sun Belt and rush defense last year, and you had 3 guys in the top 5 in the Sun Belt in terms of tackles. What about this defensive group is so special where y'all can have this level of production, and how do y'all plan on carrying it out to this upcoming season?
I think it starts with Jason, and it also starts with Coach Seiler, our defensive coordinator, and they preach playing hard, man. Our defense plays hard. And when you watch our defense, you see a lot of guys running around. See a lot of guys playing physical. There's not just one guy at the ball. Jason has a bunch of tackles, but there are 3, 4, 5 guys right there with him. And so I think that that's the thing that our defense does really, really well. I think that comes from our coaching staff. I think it comes from the leaders on our defense. And we've got some, bunch of leaders coming back on the defensive line and those sort of things. You watch how much our guys love playing football. And I think that that's where, our success comes on defense.
Emmanuel Pepper, Sunbelt Conference. And this is a two-part question. The first is for Santana and for Jason. And just talking about the ODU community in particular, what are some of the things that you guys kind of allow yourselves to reflect that you've enjoyed the most about this community and playing in front of such a fervent fan base? And then for Jason, I understand that your major has to do with leadership. What are some of the things that you've kind of learned in particular in that realm?
Well, the people down there are great. I'd say that. I mean, you walk into the store with some gear on, they lose their mind. They freak out, and I like that. Just, it just shows the compassion that they have down there with the support system, tailgating, everything. I call it Old Dominion country down there. That's really what it is. It's undeniable in a way, I would say, just because I'm from Maryland, so coming from Maryland, it's not the same. If you go to a Maryland game, it like the energy, the fan base is not the same as coming down here. Well, being in Norfolk, I would say it's very, very different in a way where it's like, wow, that's a major difference as far as the support system, the love you get, like people want to come take pictures, shake your hand. It's different. I love it.
Good.
I've actually never heard the Old Dominion country, but I like that a lot. And I think everything he just said is very true. It's a different environment. Obviously we played at other stadiums and stuff like that with some pretty big crowds and stuff. Granted, yeah, we played at Virginia Tech, but our crowd is different. They bring a different energy. They bring excitement, and it almost feels like, I guess I'll use family for lack of a better term, but like a family connection. Yeah, at the end of the day, their fans are cheering on the football team, but it's almost like you can feel it on a personal level. And I think just that itself boosts a lot of the confidence in the players. And I think it really helps us just not even during games necessarily, but walking around, feeling comfortable, being able to walk to campus, walk to classes, go to the grocery store, see people around. I think they do a great job of being open, welcome to the athletes there. And I think it's definitely a really good place to go to school.
If there are no more questions in the room, there is one more comment on Zoom. This is for Coach Rahne. Coach, Zoom is pretty much unanimous that Jason would have sacked you in that video game. Just saying. Yeah,
the room would be unanimous too. I was a bad athlete who could throw the ball. Jason's a tremendous athlete. I definitely would have got sacked. And also, I think I finished my career with negative rushing yards. So I'm going to say that, yeah, he probably would have brought me down. Now, what I would have made sure of is that he was accounted for in all protection schemes. So that I can promise would have gone down.
Coach, Santana, Jason, thank you for being here. Good luck to you in the coming season.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
We now have a break for lunch. We will return to action here in the main room on the main stage.